Hello, beautiful people. Really good to be back here. Welcome back to Faithfully Booked. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in again to another video on the Faithfully Booked YouTube channel. So, guys, I just quickly want to get into my September TBR. So, welcome to another TBR video. I'll be talking about all the books that I'll be reading in the month of September. Today is the 6th day in September, and it's already been a lot. I mean, in terms of my reading, my habits, and all of that, and actually getting work done and stuff. But I have read 4 books already in the month of September, and I'll be talking about that in another video. But I have 8 books on my TBR that I want to read, and let's get into it. So the first book that I want to read is The Art of Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie. And this is it right here. I have the physical copy with me. I got this book, I think earlier this year, but I have not been able to read it. I've not even attempted to read it. Anyways, whatever it is, I have not read this book. It's 400 pages long, and I'll actually be making a video on how I actually get through books like this, and it'll also be a challenge for myself to actually stick to it. But I'll be making a video on that, so please stay tuned to this. So from the name, you know that this book is on public speaking. Obviously, I need to get better at speaking, learn more about speaking better and everything. So if that's something you want to get better at, I think you should read The Art of Public Speaking by Dale Carnegie. I have not read any book by him. I have read a bit of How to Win Friends and Influence People, but I have not completed that either. So, if you want to get better at public speaking, speaking to people, I think The Art of Public Speaking would be a good book to get into. So, another book that I want to read in September is Bird by Bird by Lamott. I was trying to look for books on writing, right? Books that will help me get better at writing because I do write not publicly. Not yet and everything, but I do write. So Bird by Bird is one book that came on my Google search. So I'll be reading Bird by Bird by Lamott in the month of September, and hopefully, learn from a writer, learn about things that help that write and to write better and everything like that. Another book that I considered was On Writing by Stephen King. I might read that eventually, but for this month of September, I already have a copy of Bird by Bird, so I'll be reading Bird by Bird by Lamott. So I can't really speak. I can't really say, oh, if you want to get better at writing, read Bird by Bird by Lamott. But you can give it a try. So if you want to get better at writing, you're a writer, you want to write better and everything, come and learn all about writing from Lamott in Bird by Bird. So the third book that I'll be reading in the month of September, I've already started this book, and that's none other than The Art of Intercession by Kenneth Hagin. So I've read this book, I've started this book many times before, but I've never actually completed it. So I'm really excited to read this book, and I'm really looking forward to going through it, learning all about intercession, from the writings of Kenneth Hagin. So intercession is one of the really, really, really important things, for children of God in the kingdom of God and everything, because how else do people come into the kingdom of God, if not by intercession? So there always has to be people, there always has to be people praying. There always have to be people praying the will of God into fruition, you know, on this side of the earth and everything. So there have to be people praying, right? There have to be people praying for other people. There have to be people praying for the agenda of God to actually stand on the earth. And that's what the art of intercession will actually take us through. So I'm really excited to read the art of intercession. You want to learn more about intercession, you know, everybody is actually supposed to intercede. Every child of God, every Christian is supposed to intercede. So you want to learn more about it. Perhaps you feel like your prayers are always self-centered. You're always praying for yourself. In there, the art of intercession, and actually get to learn about why intercession is important to God, and the place that intercession actually plays. So that's the third book that I would be reading in the month of September. So the fourth book that I'll be reading in the month of September is none other. So this one is actually a fiction book. So this book is by Stephen King, right? I've heard a lot about Stephen King, but I've never actually read any book by him. So this book is Billy Summers by Stephen King. I actually saw this recommended by Haley Pham. Everybody knows Haley Pham. I know not everybody, but anyways. So Billy Summers by Stephen King, and we know Stephen King writes horror really good and everything. But I've not read anything by Stephen King, and I heard that this particular book is not like heavy horror. So if you're just getting into Stephen King, this would be a good place to start according to the review that I watched. So I would be reading Baby Summers by Stephen King. Looking forward to actually getting into the world of Stephen King, interacting with his writing and having a good time doing that. So from what I heard about it, I think Baby Summers is he an assassin or something? I really don't know, but I know that it's not heavy horror or it's not horror like Stephen King writes. So I'm looking forward to reading Billy Summers by Stephen King. So the fifth book that I'll be reading in the month of September is Lovely War, Lovely War. So I'll be reading Lovely War by Julie Berry. This is a book that I saw. I just added it to my TBR on Fable, and someone reached out to me because this was also a book on their TBR. This was also a book that they wanted to read. So I was reached out to, and the person requested that we do a body read. So a body read is something that Fable gives you basically. So like on Fable, you can go to people's profiles, and when you get to their profile, you see the books that they want to read, the books they finished, all of that, their reviews, the posts that they have liked, and everything. And if there are books on both of you's libraries or on both of you's want to read list, then Fable basically displays that. So that's a book that I would also be reading in September, Lovely War. I don't really know a lot about it, but from what I know, it involves gods like Aphrodite, forgotten the names of the gods. Aphrodite, Ares, the god of war, and the god that is always like making things. It's not Emis. Emis is the messenger. I've forgotten his name. So basically, I know he has God, he has romance, he has World War Two. So from the start of the book, we see that Aphrodite is married to another god, the god that makes things and everything, and she's cheating on her husband, the one she's married to, with the god of war, Ares. And basically, they're in the middle of another war because Ares, the god of war, he likes war and everything. Sha. So the god that makes things finds his wife cheating on him with the other person, and apparently he's been gathering evidence and he wants to actually put her on trial before like all the other gods in the play. My Greek, my Greek so bad right now. Put her on trial, but before they go on the trial thing, basically what she tells him is that, oh, you don't actually love me. So she's telling her husband, you don't actually love me. Yes, I'm the goddess of war and everything, but like nobody actually loves me and everything. And basically she's taking us through a story of Hazel and the names are just Hazel and another guy. So that's basically what Lovely War is about. So, like I already said, there are gods, there's romance, and there's the war. So I'm excited. Am I excited? But I'm looking forward to reading this, I guess, when I get out of my reading slump. I'm not in a reading slump, but I don't have any better words to qualify it. But yes, I am actually taking a sort of a break from my fiction reading. So the sixth book that I'll be reading in September is Anne of Green Gables. Yes, Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. So I watched Anne of Green Gables, the Netflix show last month, and it was really, 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 really interesting. And I've always, known about Anne of Green Gables, always known about the book, but I've never actually read it. So I'll be reading it in September. I'm looking forward to it because the show was really, really, really good, and I hope that the book is also really good. I kind of think that it would be. So I'll be reading Anne of Green Gables in September as well. Follows the story of Anne. She's an orphan and then she gets adopted by two siblings, a man and a woman, right? So they are siblings and they adopted her. They actually thought that she was a boy that would be able to help with the farm work and everything, but when she came, they found out that she was a girl, but they still take her in, and now she's Anne of Green Gables, going to school and doing all that stuff. So I'll be reading Anne of Green Gables in the month of September. So I have two books, but I'm really struggling to remember what they are. Interesting that I would actually forget this book. So the last two books on my TBR for September are two books by Black authors, right? Black authors. So the first one is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. So I've read this book before. It's a memoir of Maya Angelou. I think it takes us through a childhood and everything, a childhood experience and all of that. I don't really remember because it's been a while since I read it, but I'm looking forward to reading it again this month of September. So it takes us through, Maya Angelou's life. It's a memoir, like I already said, and the forward is by Oprah Winfrey. I don't know, ignore that, but yeah, just fun fact, the forward is by Oprah Winfrey. So that's a memoir by Maya Angelou that I'll be reading in the month of September. And the last but not the least book that I'll be reading in the month of September is Beloved by Toni. Morrison. So I've heard a lot about Toni Morrison, but I've never actually read any of her books. So I know that she's a black author, but that's the only thing that I know about her. So I'll be reading Beloved by Toni Morrison in this month of September, and hopefully from that I'll be able to get into other books by Toni Morrison, and the same, with Maya Angelou. So there are two black authors that are, really, 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 really good. That's all I know about them. But I'm looking forward to reading these two books in the month of September. So these are all the books that I plan on reading in the month of September. I might end up reading more books, but hopefully I stick to these books. Hopefully I stick to them. And so that brings us to the end of this September TBR video. Please let me know in the comment section what books you plan on reading in the month of September. Have you heard about any of these books that I plan on reading? Do they sound interesting? Would you like to read them? And just let me know in the comment section what book you'd be reading in the month of September. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like this video, to drop a comment. You can drop a book emoji in the comment section to let me know that you're still watching, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because you're the only one who has not. I mean, you're not, but don't be part of them. See you next time.